Hey there, welcome to episode number 9 of Veronica's Music Vault. Today we're still in the A's. We are up to Anthrax. This is the one and only Anthrax CD single that I own and is called Fueled. So I will talk you through this one. Obviously, Anthrax have been around for a very long time. So I had to do a little bit of research about them because this song just came up one day, probably when I was watching Rage, because it was 1995 that it was released. And back then, pretty much you had to watch Rage to know what was going on. And I really liked this song. It was catchy. I'm not normally into metal as such, but every now and again, one little song slips into my radar, and that was when I decided I'm going to go and buy this as a CD single. I think I possibly brought this secondhand from Beat Disc. Don't quote me on that because I really can't remember. But anyway, we're going to do a little bit of an exploration about Anthrax. So this is called My Anthrax. Okay, first of all, who are Anthrax? They're an American heavy metal band from New York City, and they formed in 1981. Now, that is quite a long time ago, so they are still going, which is really cool. Currently on tour I think they've just toured in Australia, and they're currently on tour in Europe. So if you go onto their website, Anthrax, anthrax.com or something like that, there are tour dates listed, so they are still currently touring with Iron Maiden. They also fall into these categories: thrash metal, speed metal, groove metal, and alternative metal. Now, obviously, I would have picked up on them from alternative metal because I love alternative music. So that is, alternative metal is about as heavy in the metal department as I get. So I have this CD single, which is called Fueled. It was released in 1995, and it features Fueled and 2 unreleased bonus tracks, which are called Watchin' You and Celebrated Summer, and it came from the album Stomp 442, which I believe has that same fancy looking circle on the cover as well. So it's a pretty cool little CD single. Features a few little photos on the inside, and the CD is really cool to look at as well. They also feature on a Beavis and Butthead CD called The Beavis and Butthead Experience. I am a huge fan of Beavis and Butthead, and therefore, yes, I do own that CD. So I sort of did know about them a lot earlier than that because I love Beavis and Butthead. So they did get listened to quite a bit on that album. I will do a deep dive into that one at a later date when we get to it. They did a cover of the Beastie Boys song called Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun, and that was released in 1993. So 2 years before this was released, I was aware of Anthrax, but I was not a huge fan of them because I was more into the alternative metal sort of stuff, and grunge at that time, obviously. So it was pretty hard for an alternative metal song to come through when it was all grunge and everything. But hey, it got into my ear holes, and I loved it. So yeah, they have released 11 studio albums, 7 live albums, and 7 compilation albums. So they are still going. They are very catchy. But anyway, that's really all I have to say about Anthrax for today because they've only just made it in. But they are a very legendary band. And I will leave you with that. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye. This has been My Anthrax and Fueled. Catch you later. Bye.